In new claims, Meghan Markle wants to return to the UK for a big money Netflix TV special, as her brother, Thomas Markle Jr., says her Hollywood career is now over after spitting and kicking on her father at the lowest ebb of his life. So we're going to get into it all today. Then we'll have analysis from our royal mastermind and Prince Harry's biographer, Angela Levin. But first to this new reporting from the Daily Express, which says despite her exit in 2020, Meghan Markle now open to a return to UK life. Sources have told express.co.uk that she would return to the UK for, quote, the right price. They said Meghan can be bought for the right figure. She will hold her tongue and dip lower in the curtsy to Kate, but she's premeditated and in it for her children's future. Nothing beats royal status. The source continued, never underestimate the power of cunning-driven woman. But they noted that Princess Kate isn't a walkover and could already smell Markle from miles away. But if they do return to the UK, Netflix wants to be there and follow the return home as the prodigal son and his wife return to English soil. And certainly they're going to have to do something, because what has happened over the past fortnight has been devastating to Meghan Markle's career in America. No one can believe not only that she didn't fly out to see her father, Thomas Markle, but the fact that she continued all of her terrible PR. She continued punting her was never products. But I think worse than anything, the letter, and you know how angry and upset I was about this yesterday, and I couldn't hide it, that the letter that she sent to Thomas after all of those years of silence was to abuse him, was to berate him. It's an astonishing drop in form from this vile woman. And Thomas Markle Jr., well, I think he's got the measure.
If there's anybody in Hollywood that's ever going to hire her again, I just don't. Nobody's going to touch that brand. Nobody is. Nobody in their right mind is going to go for that anymore. Because it's tainted. Whatever it touches, dies. It's foul. It's disgusting. And nobody wants that attached to themselves. I mean, look at all the people who just ditch that witch left and right every day.
And he said that the way Meghan has treated her dad, remembering recovering in that hospital in Cebu in the Philippines from having his left leg amputated, felt as if he had been spat on and kicked. Watch.
I mean, a life-threatening situation. When you're 81 years old and you go through something like that and you're getting like spit on and kicked by your own family member. Not me. I say family member. That's like totally, who needs it? Who needs it at all?
But what's interesting is that there is a briefing war going on at the moment over Meghan's movements and whether she wants to come to the disunited kingdom with Harry or allow him to spend as much time away from her as possible alone. So I'm going to take you through this briefing and counter briefing. Rob Shooter of Shooter Scoop has been told that Meghan Markle has no plans to return to the UK. He writes, sources tell me Meghan Markle has zero intention of hopping back across the pond. All that chatter about taxpayer-funded security and royal red flags, forget it. One source said bluntly, she's made it very clear, she and Harry are done with that life. The kids are staying in the US, period, end of discussion. Another insider rolled their eyes at the endless speculation. All that talk about new security arrangements, royal protocol, she's not buying it. Meghan's focus is family, privacy, and keeping the kids grounded in their own world. And here's the kicker. Harry has been lobbying for royal protection to be reinstated for UK trips. Meghan, at best, she doesn't care. At worst, she's actively saying no. Without that security excuse, the answer is simple. Thanks, but no thanks. Even those nudging her towards a UK visit admit it's crystal clear. Meghan is planting roots in America, A palace-adjacent whisperer leaned in and confided, "You can write it down. Meghan isn't going back. She's done entertaining the idea. The UK can keep its corgis and ceremonies. She's focused on her own life now. Taxpayers may be funding security plans soon, darling, but the final decision totally hers, and she's made it abundantly clear her loyalty and children are stateside, far from Buckingham Palace drama." But Harry's briefing is totally different, because sources close to the delusional Duke also tell Shooter Scoop that he is setting up a rival royal court to William in the UK, with sources close to the Montecito renegade telling him that the UK government is reconsidering its security status, which we knew, but that is part of Harry's plan to quietly lay the foundation for something far bigger, a fully functioning royal court in Britain, one that could ultimately rival Prince William. He's been playing the long game, one insider whispers. Harry wants legitimacy. He wants to operate in the UK on his own terms, meetings, charitable work, high-level engagements, without being treated like a guest in his own country. Another source adds, this isn't just about security, it's about creating a separate royal ecosystem. He's building a court, and he's doing it carefully. Behind palace walls, the whispers are growing louder. Harry could re-establish a London base, hire permanent staff, and restart Sussex-branded operations. Move courtiers fear would create a dueling monarchy. William has his court. Harry wants his. A royal insider tells me this isn't about a return to the family. It's about competing with them. The security decision is just the first domino. Once it's in place, Harry can quietly expand his influence without anyone really noticing until it's too late. So, Angela Levin, what's fascinating is that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are not even united on the idea of whether he's going to be returning to the UK alone to try and compete with his brother. Something which, by the way, Angela, I think is just an appalling idea. It shows you, though, how badly things have gone with Megxit in the US, and it shows how badly things are going with his marriage, to be blunt, because he don't want to be with her in that mansion.
Yeah, it's complicated, isn't it? I think most of it is just sort of pretending. I can't imagine that he will make any impact in the UK, however much he tries, because actually you think this man has been unreliable, appalling to all the other hardworking royals. He has a wife who nobody can bear, but he has wanted her for a very long time. He's fallen for her. He's not come back as the new Harry. He can pretend he's going to do it. It's a bit like a child who wants to play soldiers, and he's going to be the best soldiers.
He's
and
going to play
wearing
Prince.
uniform.
I'm really a prince.
Yeah, and going to Baron, he's going to punch everyone, and he's going to win it. But it's not like that. William is the heir to the throne. How do you think that he's going to say, "Come on, Harry, help me"? He can't stand him. And he particularly can't stand him because his rudeness to his wife. So, that's out. I think he's just building up some sort of tension, and he'll be in the public eye and all that. I don't believe it for a jot, actually. He can't do it. I don't think you can stay away for 7, 8 years and then go straight back into a very different world. And I don't think he could manage it. He couldn't, because he's just not got the ability anymore. She's squashed him to nothing.
But it's the desperation, isn't it, Angela, of what on earth do I do? I'm now purposeless. There's no real reason for my existence anymore. And she has taken that all from him. But of course, he was warned that these were the consequences of going away.
Yes, well, that's it. That was his choice. And that's what happened. I did feel sorry for him way back. Well, I don't feel a bit sorry for him now, because he's made his own ground. And I think it's just very, very difficult. It's very difficult for him. But I think he might do the odd go round to a charity and make a noise and suddenly feel he's someone, because he's not. He's got no chance of doing anything really good, and he should actually swallow that and to try and work out something. I mean, what's he going to do? Leave his children behind if Meghan's going to fight for them? We've got that there. What's going to happen about that? He keeps saying he wants his children to be educated by English way because that's very good. He hated his school. He hated English ways of teaching children. So what's that all about? I think it's just a way to get to some particular protection officer so that he can actually get the money and have this with his children and take them back, this and that. You can't do that with children. You can't bring them to a different country and give them such a different education when they're doing something entirely different in another country. You know, it's a dream.
Well, it's sadistic, but the thing is, Angela, and I don't actually take any joy in what I'm about to say, but these kids are going to be messed up. They're going to be messed up. You know, they're raising them as if they're Michael Jackson's children. And Michael Jackson's children, even though one of them was called Prince, didn't actually have the added pressure of the fact that they are officially a prince of a country which their parents are telling them to hate, to despise, aren't letting them spend any time in. So look, I obviously hope and pray that as they get older, these two children, Archie and Lily, are able to reconnect with their British roots, are able to be raised properly. But trust me, Angela, I mean, I know effed up Hollywood kids. You know, look at what Rob Reiner's son has just done in Hollywood. You know, these two children are going to be messed up because this is the weirdest, most effed up upbringing they could possibly experience.
Well, I think it's very difficult for the children to always see their faces covered. I think it's very hard for them to understand that. And they go, why, Mummy? Why have I got to have my face covered? Why have you put these balloons or hearts all over it? And unless they've got their back to something, they'd be told off. So that's a very difficult thing for them to take. And secondly, if they come over to England, they know nothing about the royal family. And how are they going to manage that? It will be such a strange world. And it's not fair on doing that in one go and pushing through to them. I mean, it's really horrible. And I think that what might likely happen is that you can see that they could be very difficult children. On the other hand, they could actually say to their mother and their father, why have you treated me like this? Why have you not told me that I had royals? You just said the word, but you never actually explained it. And they could be very, very unpleasant to both parents.
This opening is deliberately brutal, and that's the point. The phrase spat on and kicked by your own family member instantly frames Meghan Markle not as a misunderstood duchess, but as someone accused of moral cruelty at the most vulnerable moment of a father's life. This isn't subtle. It's an emotional gut punch designed to anchor everything that follows. If this is true, nothing else about image management or PR spin matters. The Daily Express report introduces the most incendiary allegation of the entire segment. Meghan would return to the UK for the right price. This reframes Meghan's relationship with Britain as transactional, not emotional or reconciliatory. The suggestion that she would dip lower in her curtsy to Kate for money is calculated humiliation, portraying her as pragmatic, strategic, and entirely self-interested. The subtext here is deadly. Royal status equals currency. Netflix equals silent partner. Children equals brand leverage. This isn't about healing wounds, it's about monetizing the monarchy. This section is where the tone shifts from speculation to consequence. The argument being made: Meghan's US reputation is collapsing. Hollywood is distancing itself. The timing of product promotion while her father lay hospitalized is presented as catastrophically tone-deaf. Whether viewers agree or not, the perception is clear. This looks like a woman pushing lifestyle branding while a family crisis explodes in public. And perception, in media, is everything. Thomas Markle Jr.'s comments escalate things from emotional to reputational annihilation. Whatever it touches dies. This is no longer about family drama, it's about brand contamination. The suggestion is that Meghan's name has become a liability in Hollywood, not an asset. This is where sympathy for Harry quietly begins to creep in, not overtly, but subtly, as a man tethered to a collapsing public image he can't escape. This is one of the most emotionally potent segments. The amputation is not just medical detail, it's symbolic. Vulnerability, mortality, finality. The claim that Thomas Markle felt spat on and kicked is framed as metaphorical violence, not physical, but the effect is just as strong. For many viewers, this is the moment opinion hardens. Now the narrative fractures, and this is crucial. Two competing briefings emerge. Meghan, I'm not going back. Ever. Harry, security first, then maybe everything else. This exposes what the segment strongly implies: they are no longer aligned. The kids become the immovable object. The UK becomes the battlefield. And security becomes the excuse, not the reason. This is where things get explosive.
I want to get now to Meghan's father and the treatment of the father. We obviously heard Thomas Markle Jr. speak there about how he feels like Meghan has kicked her father, spat in his father's face. And obviously he's speaking metaphorically, but there is a degree of abuse, I believe, to what has happened over the past couple of days. Because firstly, we get this briefing to the Times newspaper, the Sunday Times newspaper, and its royal editor, Roya Nika, who reported that Meghan has no plans to see Thomas Markle again, even though she wrote this letter. And indeed, they revealed that the letter actually set out Meghan Markle's feelings regarding her father's decision to give several interviews to the media about their relationship years ago. It was an attempt, Angela Levin, to berate him, to abuse him as he lies in hospital trying to deal with the fact that he has lost his leg. And then Caroline Graham of the Mail on Sunday, who has become such a focus of hatred for Meghan Markle, even though this journalist has formed a genuine friendship and relationship with Thomas Markle and actually was the woman who was prepared to fly from America to be by his bedside in the Philippines, something that Meghan Markle refused to do, and something that Samantha Markle, Thomas's other daughter, cannot do because of her illness and the fact that she is in a wheelchair. But the story that Caroline Graham told, Angela, I'm going to be honest with you, it really did break my heart, because she wrote that on Wednesday, Tom was in the middle of a physiotherapy session when the president of the hospital walked into the room with her lawyer with no warning. She writes, I covered his amputated leg with a sheet to preserve his dignity. He was asked to sign yet another legal document to confirm that he was about to receive a letter from his daughter and that the letter was sealed and personally handed to him. The lawyer said the handover would be videoed so that the video could be sent to Meghan. So in that moment, Angela, you've got Thomas Markle lying there with his leg exposed. These strangers walk into the room and he's told, without any preparation, without the ability to get ready, to shower, to feel fresh, to think about what he wants to say, you're about to be filmed. Oh, and by the way, we're sending this back to your daughter and son-in-law who are going to watch this, and you have no say over it. Caroline Graham went on to say, the whole thing felt surreal. I offered to leave the room. Tom asked me to stay. Once the handover was complete and duly taped for the Sussexes, he and I sat staring at each other. The letter in its glaringly white envelope lay on his hospital bed. Tom was physically trembling at the sight of the letter, so I asked Tom whether I should move it. I placed it out of his sight next to his uneaten lunch. For 4 hours, he fretted about opening the envelope. He was scared it might contain bad news. He eventually opened it, reading and rereading it several times. He shared nothing about the contents. I asked no questions. I told him what I've told him so many times before. I hope this letter might start the reconciliation he longs for. Now, she went on to say Tom actually told no one about the letter, yet it was Meghan who briefed about it and briefed about its content. So I found this so upsetting, actually, and so disturbing, Angela, because firstly, you really got a palpable sense of what this meant to Thomas Markle in that moment. And then you imagine his heartbreak as he's at the lowest ebb of his life, really struggling to comprehend what life is going to be like without a leg. And he opens that white envelope, Angela. And what does he receive from Meghan Markle? Not support, not encouragement, not even hope of a reconciliation, Angela, but abuse. I just couldn't, why even write it? This is such a horrible human being. I'm getting upset again just thinking about it, Angela. I can't believe that she's treated her father in this manner, a father who she loved, remember, a father who raised her.
Yes. It's very difficult. It's upset me enormously too, because you should never do that to anyone in hospital, especially not a member of your family who is vulnerable. He's very vulnerable at the moment because he can't feel well. He's not strong. So you actually have to be kind and take things very slowly. If she didn't want to fly there for nonsense reasons, which she's given, you just are very nice. Give him something that he can hold on to, but not something that is really bitter and nasty. I mean, she's got to be in control. This is a marvelous understanding of this now, that she is just at rotten bottom she is, because she doesn't know how to behave to anyone. Do you think that she's in charge of her father, that she's in charge of her father to have a friend, in charge of her father wanting to tell newspapers about it? What is it her business? It is not her business. She should absolutely keep quiet. If she didn't want to say anything, she shouldn't have said anything, but she can't. She's got to win. And that's why I think actually in London, if she came to the UK, everyone would hate her, because what a way to behave. She can't give in. She can't actually behave herself and be charming unless she's making some sort of frinkles on flowers and nonsense like that. But when it means something between a couple who love each other, with their father and daughter or friends or anything like that, but she's got to boom away because she's got to win, is absolutely appalling. In fact, I mean, she might well be quite ill, actually, because I've never, ever heard of such a hideous thing to do to your father, who, up until 2018, when she got married, she absolutely adored, wrote wonderful letters to him. I love you. Every day you make me feel I love you. All that stuff. And then suddenly she's not having anything to do with him. He brought her up. He did everything he could for her, paid for everything that she needed. And then you just go and throw it all in his face. And it's very, very difficult if someone is vulnerable like he would be to have done that. Ghastly. It's beyond ghastly, actually.
It really
And then
is.
saying this breaching clear ethic boundaries. What the hell are they? He's done that
And what
by
ethics does she
talking to
have?
this girl. Yes, it's not her business.
No, but
It's
also,
not her business.
they have sold every aspect of their family relationship, Angela. Prince Harry is close friends with Bryony Gordon, the Daily Mail columnist. Meghan used to set up paparazzi shots every time she was in London. So absolute rank hypocrisy. But Angela, can I ask you specifically about this demand, and we see it there, for Meghan to film her father in that moment? And if he didn't agree to it, Angela, presumably he wouldn't have got the letter. So what choice did he have?
Yes. Well, all I can think of really is that he is a very sad, treated badly man who hasn't got enough money to get himself really well in a good hospital. I'm not saying the one he's got is not good, but it should be in America where he understands everything and all that. And she wants to crush him to pieces. She's done that to Harry, hasn't she? She's done that to lots of friends. She was extremely unkind about the Queen, late Queen Elizabeth, and she's one of those people who needs to destroy. So she can't. She comes back with these horrendous decisions to make, We're then expecting the next week that we all love anything she's doing about traveling and eating and having lovely Christmas. And isn't it wonderful to be with the family? I mean, this is not. And you can't understand it. It's just not. But I do think she shouldn't be able to call herself, someone who is a humanitarian.
I know,
I don't think she
humanitarian
can
of the
do that.
year, Angela. I mean,
Yeah.
that was just a few weeks ago. You couldn't
Yeah.
make it up. Angela, I want to ask about the other major royal story which has broken over the past couple of days. Prince Andrew, now Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, cleared again by the Metropolitan Police here in the United Kingdom. But that has prompted fury from Virginia Giuffre's family. They have accused Scotland Yard of denying Virginia justice after her tragic death. And they say that, the Sun can reveal how the decision came just a day after a cop emailed Virginia's relatives for the first time, leaving them deeply disappointed. They accused Scotland Yard, Angela, of denying Virginia justice after her tragic death. The family say yesterday's decision came after a detective from the Met's Complex Case and Exploitation Command messaged them at 10:12 a.m. UK time on Friday to ask if they had any evidence they wanted to present. The force then issued a statement at 2:03 p.m. on Saturday saying there was no evidence of criminality or misconduct. But that was before Virginia's loved ones had the chance to reply. They said a detective gave us no indication this announcement was imminent in an email on Friday. They added, indeed, he asked us if we had any evidence we would like to present. We had not yet replied. The Sun also reported that it's understood Andrew was not spoken to by police over claims he asked his police bodyguard to carry out illegal checks on Virginia, who accused him of sexual assault while she was 18. Do you have any sympathy for Virginia Giuffre's situation involving this case, or do we just need to
Well,
trust the police here that Andrew had done nothing wrong?
I think that the police have done the wrong thing. You can't just ask something from a family who aren't actually quick at doing these things. It's not something that is easy for them to work round. And you can't say that if you don't answer at 10:12, okay, well, we're going ahead at 10:13. That's what it sounds like. They haven't given them any chance. And I think they have to have good manners to tell them they're going to bring out the fact that they're not going to do anything more, and would they like to talk it through. I mean, the way people are treating people nowadays is just horrible, isn't it? They deserve the right to be told all the facts that they have, not just presented with an answer without doing anything. I mean, I had heard that they were really desperate for some money, but that's not the point in this part of it. This is the point of being treated like human beings who lost this family member who committed suicide, and yet they're not being able to be told anything that might help them understand what really happened. It is really, really shocking.
It is indeed. Also shocking are these suggestions that Charles and Camilla might be preparing to welcome Harry and Meghan back into the fold, although I don't think it's as it has been presented in the mainstream media. So
The claim that Harry is quietly laying groundwork for a UK base, staff, Sussex-branded operations, a court that could rival William, is portrayed not as reconciliation, but competition. The language is damning. Delusional duke. Shadow monarchy. Separate royal ecosystem. The implication? Harry doesn't want back into the family, he wants back over it. Angela Levin delivers the cold water. Her core argument. Harry has lost credibility. He's unreliable. He burned bridges that cannot be rebuilt. William will never legitimize him again. The most cutting line. He wants to play Prince. This reduces Harry from global figure to cosplayer of his former life, a devastating reframing. This is where the conversation turns dark. The argument presented. Extreme privacy plus royal titles equals psychological conflict. Raised to fear a country they technically belong to. Faces hidden, identities blurred, roots severed. The Michael Jackson comparison is intentional, controversial, uncomfortable, and designed to provoke. Whether viewers agree or not, the takeaway is grim. These children will eventually ask questions, and the answers may destroy the parents' narrative. This is the emotional core of the entire broadcast. The hospital scene is described in harrowing detail. Lawyers. Cameras. A vulnerable, amputated man. A sealed white envelope. Fear before opening it. The most damning allegation: the letter was not reconciliation, it was rebuke. And worse. The father stayed silent. Meghan briefed the press. If true, this flips the humanitarian image entirely on its head. Angela Levin's assessment here is devastating. Control over the father. Control over the narrative. Control over access. Control even in illness. The word that hangs in the air: cruelty. This is no longer about misunderstanding. It's about dominance. By the end, the portrait painted is stark. A fractured marriage. A displaced prince. A woman accused of emotional brutality. A monarchy that has moved on without them. There is no fairytale ending here, only fallout. Now it's your turn. Do you believe Meghan would return to the UK for the right price? Is Harry trying to build a rival royal court, or is this pure fantasy? And most importantly, was that letter to Thomas Markle an act of control, not compassion? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like if you think the Sussex narrative is collapsing. Subscribe for uncensored royal commentary you won't hear anywhere else. This story is far from over, and neither is the fallout.